Jeff, in Pakistan, we're hearing reports of an entire community of Christians under threat because one man is accused of violating blasphemy laws. Is this common?
Oh my gosh, yes, it happens all the time. And again, of course, the press doesn't report on it, right? So I think it was last year, possibly the year before, but there was a couple that was accused of blasphemy, meaning that they accidentally burned some pages with a foreign language that they don't understand. And what it was said was that this was the Quran. Well, these people, they were beaten and then they were burned alive. That's just one example. It's happening all the time. There's many people imprisoned essentially for life or for very long prison sentences. When they get out, if they're released from the prison, when their case gets to the high court, they're shells of their former self, and they wear a scarlet letter on their chest for the rest of their lives, and they're always on the run because they are a blasphemer. It's one of the worst things that you could be labeled. But these cases are going on all the time, absolutely.
Tell us about these blasphemy laws. Why do they carry the death penalty?
It's just seen as so egregious. It's Islam. It's written within the Code of Islam. And so fundamentalists have a very strong voice in Pakistan. These cases, when they basically, there's no justice in this case. If it makes it where there's an FIR filed, if there's a case filed, basically that person is stuck and they're going to move through the judicial system at a slow pace. Basically because Pakistan is a very fundamentalist Muslim country. And so their case, they won't get released until their case gets to the high court. And even in some cases, when the case is political in nature, they get stuck longer, like Asa Bibi. She should have been released, but she's become so high profile that the radicals in the country demand that she stay in. And so we're waiting to, hopefully she'll be released, but it's unfortunate that they suffer very long prison sentences.
What about the Pakistani officials? Why don't they protect the Christians?
Well, the Pakistani officials, they're politicians, right? So unfortunately, they can only step out so far. Now, many of the leadership in Pakistan is tolerant. They're Western educated, but literally, look, they have a bullseye on their back. So one governor who was Muslim, who stood up for Asa Bibi, he was assassinated. And in fact, when the person who assassinated him, when he was put to death last year, the radicals were up in arms. They were enraged. And the politicians, they like staying in power and they don't like to be killed. So like anybody else, they have to tread carefully.
What can be done to help the Christians in Pakistan?
Well, first of all, again, people need to pray. They need to shout. They need to stay informed so we can put pressure on Pakistan's government when these cases come up. So when these cases come up, like today, at a minimum, what will happen is with political pressure, if we're pressuring the people in Washington, if we're pressuring the embassy of Pakistan in Washington, then the government will typically turn around and be responsive in terms of helping the Christians that have been victimized. They don't always change, they don't always go after the people who are persecuting, but they will often help the victims and try to restore their lives at some level. It's usually not a total solution, and that's where we come in. So they can also get involved in groups like ICC or Voice of the Martyrs, etc., and actually touch their brother and sister and rebuild their lives.
Okay. Jeff King with International Christian Concern. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you so much.